when you wrote this music down, but people pass the culture down from one generation to another. See, knowledge, every culture creates its own knowledge. Knowledge is culture, because everything comes from culture, right? Everything that people do, everything that people make is culture. You know, like this, and this, and this, right? And your shirt, and that, that's culture, because somebody, what? Made it. The Lord didn't make that. Neither did nature. Human beings make culture, right? Now we didn't make this, or this, or the melanin in my skin. That's biological. Get it? That's nature. Culture is not nature, it's artificial. It's what people make. You with me? Your hair, you know, beautiful as it is, you weren't born like that. That's arranged. Okay. You say that's what culture do. It's the hair, so anything people make or what? Do. This is how I arrange my hair. That's not natural. And you know that. It's artificial. Which is the opposite of what is natural. You got it? Do you know what? If what I'm talking about, I believe this now, can be taught and understood to 10 or 15% of the students, it would change perceptions of one another. Mutual perception. If 10 or 15% of the students at this kind of knew that and believed it, that don't think I'm talking, you know, jive out of my head, and think about it. Because you'll have to look at people differently. I look at people as cultural beings, not racial. So when I'm talking about white people, I'm talking about values and deeds and behaviors and so forth that are patterns. You know, because being white is not a color. Did you hear what I said? It's not a color. It's a state of mind. You got it? Anybody can be white, and some black people are who adopt that state of mind. You see, like the continent of Africa. There are various ways to view the world. Within the Sudan itself, which is the largest country in Africa, and a great place where lots of history comes from, the Mahdi and all of the great people during the height of Islam. Sudan is very important. But there are many, 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 many peoples, peoplehoods, cultures in the Sudan. And you say, well, they're black. That's because we've been racialized and be taught to think of people as racist and so forth. And so you deduct from the fact that people are black that they all have the same thing in common. Not true. If you want to find out who they really are, you go to language first. And language does not have a color. It doesn't have a shape. It don't weigh nothing. You understand? That's the medium of all culture. That's the most important thing about being human, is a language. And people have had different ways, according to their geographic background, how isolated they were from other people, to develop this means of communication. In Africa, they said, oh, there's thousands of African languages. Well, they're not thousands. There are groups, there are families of languages, like Sudanic languages, Niger-Congo languages, Bantu languages. They all have a kinship to one another, just like people speak Latin languages, right? What's one Latin language? Name it.
French.
Yeah, and another.
Italian.
Yeah,
Spanish.
and another. Portuguese. Yeah, they are all what? Derived from the mother, what? Latin. And so it is when Mandela speaks, he's closer, but he speaks many languages. He's speaking a Bantu tongue. Because Bantu is the largest family of languages in Africa. South Africa, Central Africa, you can see traces of it in West Africa, and even in North Africa. That's the widest spoken family in Africa. And they have different, as they settle here, these people divide and they get different pronunciations of the words and so forth. But you notice that the Latin people come from the southern part of Europe, right? Not northern, Germanic people, German, English, Scandinavians, you know, northern, they speak Germanic tongues. They all, you know, father in German, right? And they come south, is señorita. Everybody knows what señorita is, right? What? Yeah, and okay, señorita. And that's what language is that?
Spanish.
Yeah, and you say señorina. What's that? It's Italian. Yeah. You know, see the difference. See. Take the Hebrew and Arabic. They come from the same family of languages. Hebraic, algebraic. Anybody say, Muslims say, Assalamu alaikum. And the Jews say what? Shalom alaikum. They both mean greeting, peace. Right? You know what I'm saying? So the way you make a distinction between people, and we're in this age, this is what Obama understands. That nobody's ever, with this kind of background, has gotten to that place. So if he is successful,